welcome back into the channel, everybody. It's Dave, DK Mode 83. I'm excited to be back with yet another fragrance review for you. So, what do I have for you today? I'm dipping my toes back into niche because it's a fragrance I cannot stop wearing and I really want to talk about it. So, it's the newest fragrance from Initio, and this is Paragon. It's a 2022 release, and you can see on the back I do have a tester that has the note breakdown. So, we have top of bergamot, white sage, and lavender, mid of plum, Palo Santo, black pepper, and the base is sandalwood and oud. So, you heard me say in the Mystic Experience review there was a fragrance I thought should have been named that, and this is that. Part of that is that Palo Santo one where you're like, what is that? It is considered a holy wood, and that is part of the gimmick or the pitch about this fragrance is that it is a spiritual experience or like a reawakening, and it can help you kind of have almost like a spiritual experience while you wear it. Yes, can be a marking gimmick, but there is a reason it's a holy wood, so we'll see. You never know. So, it is a spicy, woody fragrance. A lot of notes in there, and I think it's time to dive in. Let's go ahead and see what it smells like. Before I do that, though, I do want to get into a couple of notes. That's what I was trying to do with my brain. Plum is one that I have historically despised in fragrances because it's usually paired with florals or other feminine things, and it tends to be a fairly feminine note. So, going into this, I did not have high expectations, and the first time I smelled it, I was not sure about it because of that plum note. So, that's just a thing there to say, because in case you don't like it because of the plum first time, I would highly recommend you try it more than once. Just trust me. Took me a few wearings to really appreciate this and kind of pick apart the notes, and since I have, I can't stop putting it on. Oh yeah. Whoo, I'm going to do a little dance. That smells so good. The balance here is just so perfect, even at the top where I used to, all I could get was plum the first couple wearings because it's just a note I'm not used to. My brain's not used to. I get plum, pepper, and Palo Santo. That's all I could smell. And that was it. Right now, I'm getting a lot more than that. I'm still getting a beautiful, velvety, smooth plum that's balanced with a perfect amount of black pepper. And then on top of that, you got the sparkling citrus from the bergamot and a really nice balance of the herbals with the lavender and the sage. I don't really get the sage personally. I get more of the lavender. But it just blends so well into this woody, spicy, fruity mix. And it's perfectly unisex. And I say that because you heard me just say the plum normally really, really feminine on my skin. Not at all in this fragrance. Because of that pepper, they're just like melded together. That pepper with the Palo Santo, they never really separate at all throughout the fragrance. And because of that, it never really goes feminine. It never really goes too masculine because the plum is balancing out those stronger ingredients of the oud and the woods and the pepper. So you kind of have this beautiful mix going on, and I think they did a fantastic job with it to get plum in a fragrance that does not smell super feminine and still smells good. It's impressive. I frankly have not smelled anything quite like this before. I really have not smelled this before. I think that's part of why it took me a little bit to appreciate, is because my nose just could not understand what I was smelling at first. And now I love every second of every wearing of this. It's just so well blended. It's so beautiful. It reminds me of the first time I smelled Aventus. And you're going to hear me say something. If you basically took the plum out and replaced it with pineapple, I honestly think people would be talking about this like they talk about Hasavat or Aventus. It's that kind of fragrance to me. And it's just so beautiful. And to have a fragrance that has almost no sweetness in it that's coming from anything other than a fruit, be completely unisex, bordering even on masculine, in my opinion, is also impressive. Like, there's no vanilla here, there's no tonka, there's no sweetness, there's no amber. The base is just sandalwood and oud, and yet you still have this wonderfully fresh fragrance still happening even with that heaviness. So, what does it actually smell like? Well, on the top, you've already heard me kind of talk about that. I'm going to get into the dry down, which I have on my other arm. Like I said, I've been wearing it all day. So, as it dries down, it loses, obviously, the top, where you're losing the lavender and the bergamot, so that kind of sparkling herbal opening goes away, and what you're left with is that beautiful creamy spiced plum with this Palo Santo Wood, which is I already mentioned, a holy wood. It has kind of like a smoky or a smoky smell to it for me, not quite incensey, but almost like a smoky wood. And then you have the oud and this creamy sandalwood coming out. And I also, one of the things I love about this fragrance is you catch so many different smells and different whiffs depending on where your nose is in relation to your arm. If it's just wafting into your nose, oftentimes what I will get is the combination of everything. But when I get into the dry down, if I get close and actually smell my arm, what I smell is Oud For Greatness with plum and a little more smoke. And that makes sense when you actually look at the note breakdown, because you have a base of sandalwood and oud, and you have pepper. And this is essentially spicy sandalwood oud. So it kind of feels like they took the base of this and tweaked to make it far more versatile, far more unisex, and far more wearable in more situations. Now, I do think this is a lot more versatile fragrance than it gets credit for, and I will talk about it when I get to it. Also, in the same vibe, I would say I also smell Haltane from Parfums de Marly in this at times as well, because that does have the same similar vibe of the sandalwood, or spicy sandalwood and oud, basically. But what you add in this is that plum and the Palo Santo Wood. And those two ingredients are huge in making the smell overall so different. It's really when you get whiffs without the spicy plum that it smells so much like Oud For Greatness at times. And that's not a dig on it at all. It took me so many wears to smell that too. So don't think you're going to be like, Oud For Greatness with plum. It's going to take a while, and you may never smell that. It might just be my brain playing tricks on me, because they're both Initio fragrances. But that is a vibe that I definitely get in the dry down, is Oud For Greatness with plum and Palo Santo is kind of what it smells like. And that sounds like it would not be good, but it is so amazing. I did not expect it to work this well. I didn't expect it to be this versatile, this fresh. It's just so many things. I love this fragrance. Yeah, now this one is starting to dry. I'm starting to pick up a little bit of the oud. The sandalwood is coming through. It just smells so good. I don't know how else to say it, but yeah, the best way to describe it is probably take Oud For Greatness, add plum and Palo Santo, and then change the top up a little bit, and that's about it. But when you get down to the dry down, yeah, that's kind of the gist of it, and it works. It's amazing. I don't know what else to say. Besides, I absolutely love this stuff. Do I believe in the gimmick of it being like a spiritual reawakening or anything like that? No, not really. I will say, though, as far as a fragrance goes, this is one of the more re-energizing and invigorating and like relaxing fragrances I have smelled. And I don't know if that's just because I get so many different whiffs from it, there's so many different things going on, it takes me a while to get through it, or if it is truly Palo Santo Wood just has that kind of effect. I don't know. There's also lavender in it, which does have that effect too. So it's possible it could be any number of things, but it's also my brain could just be buying into the marketing, and that's why they do marketing like that. So you already know I adore this stuff. I highly recommend getting your nose on it, especially if you smelled this and wished it had some sweetness or some fruit or something else to change it up a little bit. I think you might really, really enjoy this. You just got to give it time to get past the top. You've already heard me wax poetic about it. You obviously know I'm going 10 out of 10 on scent. I love it. There's nothing I would change throughout the entire awareness. Love it. This stuff, it's an experience. It's a joy to wear. That's why I would say it's Mystic Experience would have made sense. But you know what? I'll call it Paragon, and I will love it just the same. Longevity. I'm actually going to give it a 10 out of 10. I get at least 14 hours every single time I wear this, which is very impressive. Projection, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. I think it's very, very good. But it's not like a room filler. But that's okay. It's really when you get down to that dry down, it becomes more of a skin scent. But that's pretty common with most fragrances, as you all know. So, bottle and packaging. I think this is the best bottle that they have. I think it's gorgeous, even over this, which I think is pretty, but this is just so classy, so elegant. I love the white. I love the rose gold. I love all of it. 10 out of 10. Versatility is going to surprise you, but 9.5 out of 10. Because of that plum and the pepper, I think this will work in the summer. I know that sounds crazy, but I think for this type of fragrance, it is extremely versatile. I think you can wear it anywhere. Like I've honestly used it as like just an everyday whatever scent. Like you can use it for whatever, in my opinion. Overall, you already know I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10. Like I can't stop sniffing my arm. I love it. Like I love every second of this fragrance. It reminds me so much of the first time I smelled the Ventus. Of like, what is this? I haven't smelled anything like, what is this? This is, whoa, what is this? That's the experience I have had with this fragrance, and that is for me awesome. At this point in my like smelling career, I'm like 15 years into this. Like, to surprise me, it's not that easy. So I am very impressed with this fragrance. I highly, highly, highly recommend you get your nose on it. You don't have to blind buy it. Do I think it is a safe blind buy? No, I don't, because that plum note, even though it's blended so well, it still could be a problem for some people. I think you gotta smell it. Do I think you could blind buy it if you like adore this and you want a different version of it? Maybe. I mean, I think that makes more sense than buying this and then buying Haltane, because the differences are way more slight, where they're a lot bigger here. But I still think you should probably smell it first. That's just my opinion. So, I really hope you enjoyed my review of this. I think it is an amazing fragrance. I love it. I'm so glad I have it, and I cannot wait to continue wearing it. So, please click like and subscribe down below if you like what you saw. As you can see, I've been putting out a lot of videos lately, and I got a lot more coming. So, thank you again. Really appreciate your time. Comment down below, too, if you have a chance. And thanks for taking your time to watch Initio Paragon. Have a great one, guys.